Some of these components can be pretty stuck, so it helps to hit the knuckle of the hammer and release the ball joint studs.
Alright, so this is what we found so far on the Tahoe. We've got 4 major issues going on here. We've got a lower ball joint that's completely toast. It's got a bunch of play in it. Same with the upper ball joint. The CV axle boot that's torn, really doesn't have any grease left in it. Plus, the sway bar end link is missing its bushing, so that's a big problem. Now, this is a reason why you should really look at used vehicle lumber before you take it on any type of a drive. Now, we've got a couple more pieces to get off of the truck, so we'll get those out of the way. We'll work on putting some new parts on this thing. We'll remove the 6 bolts that hold in the CV axle and follow that up by removing the tie rod. We've got the worn out suspension out of the way. Now we start the process of freshening up our front end, getting our Tahoe traveling down the road for many years to come.
To test the toughness of the 3-row Kia Sorento X-Pro and the Kia Sorento Turbo Hybrid, we recreated some of the wettest springs, hottest summers, windiest falls, and coldest winters. All on one track to prove these 3-row SUVs were built for the unstoppable. Kia, movement that inspires. So we've gotten most of the suspension parts out from underneath the Tahoe here, and it's time to start reassembling this thing. Now we already went ahead and knocked out the lower ball joint and the upper one as well. The lower one came out with a couple swings of the hammer. The upper ball joint, we just had to grind off a couple rivets. We got that one out of the way as well. Now we went ahead and cleaned this area up the best we could, so it's time to start reassembling. Now as far as the parts that are going to be going on our 2-door Tahoe, we're going to be using Duralast Gold chassis and suspension parts. The first place we're going to start is right here, lower ball joint. Easiest way to install your ball joints is with a ball joint press. Now if you don't have one of these in your arsenal of tools, you can rent one of these at a local auto parts store. Tapping on the lower ball joint with a hammer helps to seat the ball joint into position. once the ball joints are in, we'll ditch the worn up factory shock and install a new one. And we'll go ahead, put a new shock in here, and we'll work on putting the spindle and everything on it. Alright, we'll get the CV axle in here. Get closer and closer. Before installing any new parts, we cleaned up all the surfaces. This just makes for easy installation, plus makes everything run true and straight. Alright, before we tightened down the upper ball joint, we did notice something. The original ball joint here was held in with a set of rivets. Now this ball joint actually gets bolted into place. Those bolts are a little bit longer. They're going to end up contacting the top of the knuckle here when we turn left and right. So now's the time to fix that. What we're going to end up doing here is just taking the pressure off. We'll release it from the upper control arm here. Then we can just flip these two around and keep moving forward. Okay, a couple things to note before we put this hub assembly on. We have cleaned the mounting surface here on the knuckle. We add a little bit of grease to the CV axle. A big thing with this hub assembly is it does come with the speed sensor, which is good because we do have an ABS light on the dash, so hopefully this takes care of it. And one thing to remember, don't forget to put on this little shield.